to join. We'll do that. And I'm really excited. I've gotten to know Marcia Hyatt over the past, oh gosh, year. Was introduced to her through Marcia Clark and just kindred spirit immediately. She is a leadership professional. She has been doing this work for decades. And what I found that I love most about Marcia is that she is a calm presence. And I really love that about her. And I think you'll find it is the same. So I know I probably missed what I was supposed to say, but Marcia, please take it away.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, hey, thank you for showing up. It's uh it's a lot to give an hour of your day, so it's lovely to be with you. And a topic near and dear to my heart, like how do we show up and respond from center, from that grounded capacity that we have, which I didn't do last week. So I'll give you an example of how I was reactive last week when Roxanne said we were together. Yeah, I had a little reactive moment. But the point being that we need women's voices. We need women's voices in this world. We need to show voices that come from, like Roxanne said, our true nature, our deeper place, um, because the world needs it for healing, and we need healing. I live in Minnesota. There's a lot of healing needed around, let alone just life. Um, so what we're going to be doing today is guided by a book that Roxanne just uh, published or authored about four sacred portals. But we're not going to work with the four sacred portals per se, but it informs our work. And our work is how do we um, operate from that true nature, and how do we release these limiting stories that we've been living with about how we have to be, how the world has to be, that keep us from fully expressing the whole of ourselves. Um, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do some exercises. We're going to have a lot of conversation and a few principles, a few things to think about, because a couple of them are countercultural that inform the Deep Living Labs work. So just a guide that to help us and how to be together is, if you can see the screen, just I've got it up there too. One key thing is to respect yourself in terms of, do you need to pass? Just like you're doing with the camera off or not, whatever you need, please honor that. And the same with others when we have conversations, just make sure there's space for all the voices. And I think that's the main thing. Of course, like Heather said, we won't be recording the parts where it's like us sharing our stories. How about if we take a breath and then let's get into it? How about that? So I'm just going to invite you to invite the calming part of our nervous system to be in the forward place because we've got busy days, busy lives. So to do that with three breaths, it's a short inhale, a long exhale. So do that at your own pace. Think like swimmer inhale. Exhale 2 to 3 times as long. Short inhale, slow exhale. And notice what happens to your body. I noticed my shoulders dropped a little bit with that exhale. All right. Just see about being present right here, right now, and see what we can learn from each other today. So last week in our team meeting, I noticed I was having a reaction in one of the breakouts, one of the small groups had done, here's our current state. And it was not a positive flip chart. It was a chart that listed lots of things that I noticed myself getting tighter. I noticed myself getting defensive, um, emotional, taking it personally. That's what happened. And I'll talk a little bit more about what I did with that. But that reaction is so fast, so quick, so embodied. A lot of times I don't even know it until my body goes, like it's really, really um, tight, and I don't even know why. So I'm curious for you, if you could pop this into chat. Um, when are you vulnerable to react? Like, what do you know about that? What actually sets you up to be more reactive than not? Just pop it in chat if you can. If it's easier to take yourself off mute and speak it, love to hear. Yeah, rushed, for sure. Yeah, too much on my plate. Yep, the overwhelm. When are you most vulnerable to react? Lack of caffeine. I mean, not fully there yet. I get it. Feels big to me and small to others. Yeah. Something you care deeply about. Would never, perhaps another way to say that. Yeah. So it's pretty human to react. It is part of our nature. And it's so fast that we have some form of reaction. What are some other ones here? Oh, my need to be perfect. Yeah. So relate to that. When I'm rushed. I know for me, when I feel judged, when people don't see me how I want them to see me, when that's how the flip chart responds. It's like I wanted them to see me as having accomplished something last year, and the flip chart did not look like that was represented. Um, and I studied with Wendy Palmer, who wrote Leadership Embodiment, and she said there's three key ways that we tend to react. One is to push in, like, and that's what I do. I tend like, wait a minute, what the heck? Some tend to withdraw, like, it's just not worth it. And some of us get kind of mushy, like maybe passive aggressive, or just kind of say something, but don't quite say directly what is true for us. So on the other side of this, oh, here, what Rachel, what'd you say? When I try to warn people about an issue and it became an issue and it makes me feel unlistened to. Absolutely. Like dismissed, not seen. When I have no extra margin, Christy says, or I think that if I pays, I don't know if I understand that one. If I pause, thanks for the correction. If I pause to have margin, I will get behind. Yeah, that whole what gets in the way of us pausing, because we know that's how we're going to access. So I'm curious if you could take the second question in terms of what's your experience of responding from center? That's the title of this thing. When have you experienced it? What does it feel like to respond from center?
Marcia, I'll unmute and answer. I feel like 2025 was a lot of uncertainty and change. And what I want from 2026 is and that to me was a place of scarcity and not knowing. And what I want from 2026 is to be able to react from a place of abundance, of
Mm,
hope, of, change is obviously inevitable, but how do I react to it from the best place possible?
yeah. Yeah. And so the uncertainty will still be there, but you'll be living it from a different place. Yeah.
hmm It's just sometimes for me, it's just a mindset and reminding myself
Hmm.
that and not feeling that scarcity.
When you don't feel the scarcity, what does it feel like inside you? What do you notice?
Calm.
Mm,
And I think, yeah, Leticia just said it, calm. And I think it makes me feel like I'm grounded. And I love that word.
mhm.
Like I'm reacting from a place that is my values.
Yeah.
So, my values being I like to connect, I like to pour into people. And so if I'm able to get back to that place, then
Yeah.
it's just it feels like I've also often used the word my work hums, right?
Yes, yes.
When I respond from a place of calm and being grounded.
Yeah, I love it. And then see several comments very similar. The experience of, this is from Rachel, the experience of responding from center for me is powerful. I feel like I'm calming down the room. Some of my staff has anxiety issues, and I feel like when I'm responding from center, I'm contributing to their quality of life by grounding them. That is so powerful because there is a ripple effect of our presence. And so, yeah, it's bigger than us when we find that place in us. Uh, Almost feels too easy, Anne said. Makes me wait for the other shoe to drop. And I forget to appreciate the moment. I so get it. You know, I know for me, there's more spacious, I feel like more spacious in my body. I feel my feet. Someone wrote that connected to their heart. I think Roxanne said that, that and it flows, like you said, Heather. It's not like there's like I'm not tight-fisted. I'm more open-palmed. I'm like, okay, what's true for me, what's true for my heart, and to respond from that place. It doesn't feel courageous at the time, it just feels true. It's just there and it's true. So let me just talk about a few of the principles that, let me just see if this, oh yeah, there's just so many gorgeous comments in the chat. Thoughtful and confident. When I don't feel scarcity, I feel energized. Yeah, sensing my body and connected to my heart, that's Roxanne. More curiosity and questioning than responding. Time to process. Yeah, brilliant. This is the thing. We know this stuff. We know the experience. It's like how to make it more accessible to us, especially when we need it. So here's the first principle that might be counterintuitive when we think about reactivity. There's nothing to fix in your being a reactive human being. We are, it is part of the human nature. It is part of how we grow up. It is part of a natural fight flight um, sort of response. And and we don't have to make ourselves self-improvement projects because we're human. What it means is with noticing it, like at that retreat, and greeting it with a bit of gentleness. Like, whew, am I defensive right now? Or am I feeling not listened to, not appreciated? Um, People don't care about this that's really important to me. Whatever it is, just that little bit of space and saying, this is nothing I have to fix. I'm having a human response. And someone mentioned in their comments, I think Dawn, yeah, curiosity. So how do I bring a little curiosity to this? And instead of, I don't know about you, but when I catch myself reacting and notice it, my first response is, what's wrong with me? I know better than to be reactive. I need to get grounded here. Um, yeah, let that go. Because that's not what's going to make me grounded. That is not what's going to make that space available to me. The thing about this nothing to fix is an assumption that we already have the inherent capacity in us to access that calm, grounded, curious, heart connected space. We have that in us. It just gets lost in sort of the limited stories that we naturally grow up learning about how we have to be and how things need to be and who we are, who we should be and who others should be and how this should work out. That's normal, and yet it's not the core of who we are. There's an old African folktale that I love that captures this metaphorically. There were three eagle eggs on the top of a mountain. An earthquake shook one egg loose and it rolled down and did not break into a chicken yard. The chickens, seeing an egg, did what birds naturally do. They sat on that egg and they hatched it. And a little eaglet was born. And of course, what the chickens did with a new being in there amongst their midst was taught it how to be a chicken. They taught it how to dig around for grubs and how to do what chickens do, communicate as chickens do. That chicken, however, always felt a longing excuse me, that little eaglet always felt a longing for, like, God, I just feel like there's something more. And it looked up one day and saw this bird soaring in the sky. And it's like, oh, God, I would love to soar like that. And the other chickens surrounding the eaglet said, Get real, buddy. You're a chicken. We don't fly. Get back to getting some grubs out of the dirt here. That's kind of what happens to us in our stories. It's like we kind of lose that sort of inner knowing, that deeper sense of that we're whole, we're inherently worthy, that that we have more capacity than what we tend to do on the surface. So nothing to fix. That's radical. I don't know if you're taking that in, but when Roxanne first said that to me years ago, I was like, but how do you grow? How do you grow? And it's a different frame on growth because growth means what we really, really need is already here. And it's about releasing some of the limiting stories that we're holding. All right. So I'm going to go to a quick exercise. I hope y'all can do this wherever you're at, because I'd love to hear your experience. I want you to think of a recent time you've been reactive. I've got my team meeting, could be around the dinner table at the house, uh, whatever, at work, at home. I just want you to get in your mind's eye. You don't have to share this with anybody, but get in your mind's eye that moment when you are reacting. And if you either can take yourself off mute or jot into to chat, as you think about that moment, what do you notice about your thoughts, your emotions, your somatics response, your embodied response? What happens when you put yourself, I put myself in that team meeting with that chart in front of me? What happens for you in your reactive situation? Just sit with that for a moment, draw up that scene in your mind's eye, and then pop into chat or speak up, take yourself off mute. What do you notice as you think about that situation? What's present? Yeah, Kerrigan. Heart rate increases, tightness in my chest, heart starts racing. So stress is louder in my body. I talk faster and louder. Yup. Yeah, anything else you notice? Any stories you're telling you? Somatic responses. Yeah, our
Okay.
body. I'm sorry, go ahead, Regina.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I wasn't on mute. So sorry.
Okay, I thought you had a good thought. That's all right. Anybody else? All
Well, I'll
right.
just say it because we're all women. I get hot.
Okay.
I sometimes get like the head sweats, right? Like I can literally feel my body reacting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got Kerrigan shuts down, doesn't speak as much, jumbled thoughts. Christy frantic, self-centered. Then the shame and embarrassment. Isn't that so true? So here, let me just back up. Normal, it's a great opportunity to bring a little gentleness into your being at that moment. Because we are the best, harshest critics of ourselves. And so when we find ourselves reactive, um, how do I say, I got my hands on my heart if y'all can't see the screen. It's like, there. Man, I'm just being human right now. Um, I felt micromanaged. My mind is always at odds with what happens when this happens. I know we're on the same team emotionally, but I feel irritated and like I'm not trusted. Great example, Rachel. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. With that situation in your mind's eye, just put it to the side. We're going to do a little bit of grounding and see what happens next. So just to, again, eyes closed or downward glance, do what feels right for you to, we're inviting ourselves in to this present moment. So conscious breath, you might do the 3 calming breaths again. Deep inhale, slow exhale. Feel that breath and how it impacts your body. One more time. Now just ask your body, what would it feel like to have gravity supporting me right now? It already is. So what would it feel like to have a bit more gravity holding me so I don't have to hold myself so tightly? Just see if gravity responds, and my shoulders tend to drop a little bit. I tend to sink in my chair a little bit. And then just think about the field that you're in, the comment about when I'm calm, my staff is calm. So if you think about your heat coming off your body in the front, that energy field, what would it be like to have that equidistance to your right and behind you and to your left, so that you're in the center of your energy field? What would you like to fill that energy field with? What quality do you want to bring to this moment? See what words pop up. It could be kindness, it could be patience, it could be space, it could be assertiveness. Just see what happens. What quality do you want to put into your field? Do you want to be carrying right now? All right. Now bring to your mind's eye again that reactive situation, that micromanaging or not being listened to. Just notice, how would you say you respond to that, having done a little bit of grounding? How's your body feel in relationship to that reactive situation? How does your heart feel? Just pop it into chat or speak up. What's present with just a little bit of grounding? Yeah. Mm. Yeah, you're not alone, Ree, about the wanting to cry when it's reactive, more peaceful. Rachel, if I think I'd have taken a moment, I've realized it was about the other person, not about me. Yeah, that perspective. I find myself just feeling calmer. So the question to us then is, what keeps us from pausing? What story do we have? What assumptions do we hold? More at choice, Roxanne said. What keeps us from just a little bit of space in there? What do you know about yourself that keeps us from pausing?
I mean, I think when we think about, because we all to the shame part of it, we all look back on those situations and think, oh, I wish I would have done it differently. And the question is, what does keep us from pausing? For me, it's the need to fix it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the need to move on or get to, and sometimes I wrongly think that it is my job to fix it. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking of a time recently where I really was a lot of in that reactive place. And it was actually on the phone with my brother, and I wish I just would have said, I'm not in a place to have this conversation right now. And I was also in my car. So how do you tell the other person
Yeah.
I need a pause, especially when you're in partnership with someone. And it does matter to me that I don't blow up at him. So it
Yeah.
really is, I was really just trying to solve the problem, and I
Yeah.
made it worse, honestly.
That's a great awareness, that impulse to make it right or fix it. And part of, I know for me, it's behind that, there's a should behind that. Like this
Mhm.
should be, we should be in harmony, or they should see my point of view or they should see me a certain way. There's often a kind of a should buried in there, a story of how things are supposed to be. Um, yeah, there's a shame. Like if I didn't automatically answer, it's because I was a big dumb dummy. Yeah, I mean, there's a story of like if I don't respond right away, then what will people think? Care again, fear of discomfort, of disappointing others, fear of not responding fast enough, feeling everything's falling apart and I have to pick up the pieces. Yeah, the thing, again, let's bring a lot of heart to that, energy to that, because like, dang, we can be so hard on ourselves. And we get kind of attached, not kind of, we get attached to how I need you to see me, how this needs to be, how I got to fix it. And the more we just back up into our eagle nature a little bit, just because it's there, just back up into that eagle nature. It's like, what's the bigger intention here, right? What is it that I really, really feel is important? Um, so the part of shifting to respond from center and perhaps turn down the dial in our reactivity is, and you all have said it beautifully in that chat. It's like, how do I learn to be present in my body? Because the body, a lot of times I don't even know what's going on, but the body is tight. Like, okay, what's going on here? So the train's left the station sometimes. So the more practiced I am at listening to I'll tell you my tells. When I'm reactive, I'll lean forward. I notice getting emotional. I'll get argumentative. For others, it's like, whoa, I just want to get out of here. Just everybody, let's make it okay. Um, they're different tells, but the body is often a place where we could see it first because the body is always present. So nothing to fix. And if we learn to stay here and trust, this is a key piece of this, right? To trust that a little bit of space, we may be able to access a deeper, more grounded response. And then when we don't, there's that gentleness, forgiving of self, and even getting curious, like the team thing. It's like, what was really going on that it impacted me so much? Well, one, I'm in a brittle state because of my husband's health. That's true. But two, hadn't slept well. Three, I noticed like, oh, I want to be appreciated, and I don't feel appreciated. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think snapping out about a flip chart is going to get me there. And is that really the higher intention here, right? So in that case, I just shared with the teams like, oh man, I'm so reactive and I'm feeling really brittle, and there's some tears happen, and tears are okay in our work team. Thank God. Um, but just to be present with it and to allow it just gave me back my grounding. So, nothing to fix, learning to stay present. And the third thing I want to try before we move into a conversation is I want you to find something in around you that you can just focus on really closely. Get rid of this thing. So I'm got a glass of water and I'm going to just put my attention like a close-up of a camera on my glass of water. If you can find something in front of you, a pen, paper, the computer screen, just really, really focus on that object. Take in all the subtleties and detail of that object. And then slowly, keeping that as your focus, pull back and widen the lens. Pull back, and the glass is still in my view, but so is the microphone, the keypad, my notes for my presentation. It's all also here. That where we place our attention, like on the situation that we're reacting to, compared to pulling back to what is also true. So the way I call this, widen the lens, that there's more than this issue, than my ego, than my rushing, then fixing. It's that's what the pause can give us, is that pause of what's really true here? What's important here? Why am I reacting this way? The thing for in the work that we do at Deep Living Lab is something that's been really profound for me. Part of widening the lens has been learning that there's a couple of planes from which I can operate. One being the sort of finite plane, which is my day, I got stuff to do, the clock is running, I slept well or I didn't, that's my material finite plane. But at the same time, available to us is a more spacious truth. We call it the infinite, whether it's love, whether it's energy, whether you put it in more spiritual terms, whether you just call it interconnected life. There is also available to us a larger reality. So when I think about when I'm in a more reactive place, I'm often really tied to that finite, get stuff done, fix this thing, get it. But if I just pause a moment and relax into, I find that in this place we call convergence, a much more spacious and wise part of me that is already there. Just like the eagle nature, it's already in us. Just checking in if there's any comments or questions before we move to a reflection together. All right. So here's the 3 guides that I've talked about. Nothing to fix. We are not self-improvement projects. We are human. Presence, learning to be in the moment more, and our body is a fabulous ally for that. And building our capacity I often think of like the metaphor, like leaning back on my chair and allowing myself to be held by a wider intelligence than just my mini me, ego, gotta look good self. So part of what is important around this is how do we live it in the moment with all the responsibilities and the people and with what we know. So here's the thought. It's going to have you break out into small groups and think for yourself about what really supports your capacity to respond. What habits, stories that you're telling yourself, beliefs get in the way of you being in that responsive place. So if you can, and if you can, hopefully can talk in your breakout group, we'll put you in a small group of 3 or 4. Work on make sure the respect thing, respect yourself and your boundaries, what you want to share, very comfortable sharing, but also make sure there's space for others and to hear. Because I know often learn more hearing from you than from me. So create that space. And supports with women. One thing Heather didn't mention, I started a women's leadership community 30 years ago because I believe women need to be with like what CCC does to give each other space, to support each other, to hear each other, learn from each other. And so this practice feels so important. The Deep Living Lab has a number of things that we do, and there's a few coming up. A couple that I think might be of interest to you, and this will be in the follow-up letter from Heather. But we have a Sacred Sisterhood. Oops, looks like my Prezi has stopped working now, so there we are. So I can't show you the cute graphics I have. Anyway, we have Sacred Sisterhood. We're collaborating with a woman who wrote No Justice, No Peace, Dr. Deborah Egerton, and we're together trying to create circles for women to cross the divide between color and race and religion and places in the country, whatever. So we're creating these circles, Sacred Sisterhood, and there are 3 free sneak previews that'll be in the letter from Heather. And Roxanne is doing a session called Sacred Engagement. Like, how do we step into our whatever's ours to do from that deeper place? There is also a retreat. Heather's thinking about it. Retreat in Taos, May 2nd to 5th, which Roxanne and several others are doing, which it also is connected to sacred engagements. Like, how do we, step back, catch our breath, and act from that eagle nature, truer nature, uh, awesome capacity that we all have within us. So that's coming up. That will be in the follow-up letter. But I just want to thank you, and it's been lovely, lovely to share this time with you.
Yeah. Marcia, thank you so much. This conversation started over a year ago, and this will not be the last time we partner with Deep Living Lab. And I do hope I'm going to send out an email with the links. And I hope you do consider if this has spoken to you and you need any of what they offer. I highly recommend it. And it's just been a joy to share this time and space after kind of a busy start to the year. I can't believe tomorrow, I mean, like Sunday is February. So I'm also excited. You'll hear more about this. We're relaunching our website very, very soon. And we will be hosting monthly, either in person or virtual learnings. And I hope that not only you join us, but you also challenge me and give me feedback and tell me what you need and want out of this community, because we're here for you. And it's a difficult time, and we need to support each other and just reinforce the learning. So this was a beautiful time today. So thank you so much, Marcia. I
Yeah,
really,
my pleasure.
all
Yay.
right.
Yay.
Wishing you many moments of pause, women.
Yes. Thank you. Thank
All right.
you.
Take care.
All
Thank you,
right.
Heather.
Yes.